Once upon a time in a land not so far away from here, there lived a beautiful princess called Olivia. She lived in a big castle with her mum and her nana, who was the queen. Her auntie Maria and Mary, her fairy godmother, also lived in the castle. It was Christmas Day in the castle, and Princess Olivia was opening up all the presents. There were that many presents, Papa, Auntie Maria and her mum had to help her open them. Each new present brought exclamations. Ooh and ah, that's nice. Among the gifts was a most sinister-looking present. It looked like a simple black box tied with a peculiar ribbon that took on the appearance of a white snake with yellow eyes. A dodgy-looking present like this would have given pause for thought on a quieter day, but there were so many presents still to be opened that this one was opened without much thought. Once the little princess opened the box, a terrible spell was unleashed. Princess Olivia was unharmed, but her companions were sitting motionless as if sitting for one of those stuffy old palace photo shoots. Princess Olivia tried shouting all sorts of powerful enchantments, which her fairy godmother had taught her, to free those she loved, but none worked. Out of frustration and mounting fear, the little princess tried shaking each of them to see if that would break the spell. No matter what enchantments the little princess invoked or how hard she shook her loved ones, they sat motionless. The spell that had enchanted Princess Olivia's family was a dark and evil one. All hope seemed lost. Princess Olivia turned as she heard a faint voice, which was like an echo at first, but seemed to grow louder and louder as she approached her fairy godmother. The little princess's fairy godmother was shouting so hard that her throat was hoarse. "Is that you, fairy godmother?" "Yes, child, come closer." Princess Olivia approached, happy that she was no longer alone. "Child, listen carefully. I don't have much time. I have managed to punch a hole in this enchantment, but I don't know how long I can hold out. This is a spell cast by the evil white-haired ogre. To break the enchantment, you must bring back the Christmas crown. It alone has the power to break this enchantment. Where will I find it? It belongs to the King of Kindness who lives in the kingdom in the north, where Christmas is kept all year round. But fairy godmother, how will I get there? Ride your pink unicorn. It is the fastest steed in the kingdom. It will get you there in no time. Now, go child. There's no time to waste." With that, the fairy godmother sat motionless once more like the rest of Princess Olivia's family. "Oh, fairy godmother, I won't let you down. I'll get the Christmas crown and lift this enchantment." Just as her fairy godmother had said, Princess Olivia's pink unicorn was fast indeed. Before nightfall, they were deep in the mountains of the north. In these mountains, the wind was alive. Some legends say the northern wind is the spirit of a long-dead wizard. Others say that it was formed when a giant soul was trapped after it died, imprisoned in its dead, rotting body. Over time, being imprisoned in its decaying body drove it mad. When the giant's body eventually turned to dust, its rage at its long imprisonment was so fierce that it turned into the northern wind. Many brave but foolish knights with strong shields and sharp swords have tried to defeat this malevolent wind. Each time these knights would try to cut the northern wind down, it would simply divide and reform and attack them. Every time a knight would think that he had a hold of the wind and tried to throttle it, it merely dissipated in their grasp, only to quickly punch them in the stomach and knock them off their horses. Once the knights were off their horses and lay injured on the ground, their fate was sealed. The northern wind closed in on them and wrapped itself around them, squeezing and smothering them to death. Princess Olivia felt the northern wind's cold, bitter talons grasping at her as it raced up behind her and her brave pink unicorn, whose nostrils flared, and breath quickened, sensing the danger. The faster Princess Olivia and her brave little unicorn galloped, the quicker the northern wind blew. As Princess Olivia rode on, trying to stay one step ahead of the northern wind, it wasn't long before she and her brave little unicorn came across the skeletal remains of the defeated knights that the northern wind had killed. Their bones were strewn across the mountain pass, and their lifeless eyes seemed to be staring at the little princess and her unicorn as they rode past them. The vacant expressions of the vanquished knights spooked Princess Olivia's brave unicorn. Although afraid, the unicorn was swift and decisive and continued to gallop forward. The northern wind, realizing it would be unable to outrun them, started to throw large boulders at them, from either side of the mountain passage to block their escape. But no matter how many boulders the northern wind lobbed at them, the little pink unicorn deftly leapt around them. The passage leading out of the mountains and to safety was tantalizingly close, and the little unicorn was breathing heavily, trying to outrun the feral northern wind and the boulders it was raining down upon them. Howling with rage, fearing that they may escape its clutches, the northern wind began lifting the bones of the dead knights and threw them at Princess Olivia and her little pink unicorn like a bandit might throw a knife. The brave little unicorn continued to gallop from left to right, avoiding these sharp bits of bone thrown with deadly intent. As the bones missed the little princess and her brave steed, they shattered into tiny fragments on the ground. Frustrated that none of the bones had hit the target, the northern wind started to lift up the skulls of the dead knights and, like some macabre baseball game, pitched them at Princess Olivia and her little pink unicorn. As the northern wind threw the skulls, the little pink unicorn galloped out of the mountain and down the passage to safety. For a brief second, Princess Olivia turned her head to look back at the passage. She saw that one of the skulls had landed at the exit to the mountains with its empty eye sockets facing the northern wind. After they escaped the clutches of the northern wind, Princess Olivia said, There, my brave little unicorn. Let's stop a moment and rest." Princess Olivia climbed off her unicorn and led it to a pool of water. While stroking its back, she searched her pocket and pulled out a couple of sugar cubes and fed them to the unicorn. After their rest, the princess and her unicorn discovered they were near a steep slope, which they would have to walk down to continue their journey. The walk down the narrow, sloping path was made more difficult by the water and mud underfoot. This made it slippery and quite treacherous. If either one of them fell down the slope, they would pull the other down, and both would surely receive a nasty injury. Fortunately, they reached the bottom without incident. Once they reached the bottom, the first thing they saw was a series of candy cane street lamps stretching out into the distance. One of the candy cane street lamps was flickering on and off. Another had a big chunk taken out of it, with the imprint of teeth marks providing evidence that someone had bitten off a piece of it. Bits of ribbon and wrapping paper blocking the drains and the snowmen traffic lights were melting. On each corner of the wide streets, Christmas trees stood, but many of them didn't have tinsel. The one closest to Princess Olivia and her unicorn had one or two damaged baubles lying at its feet, though on top of each tree stood a fairy. Princess Olivia noticed a street sign, which told her she was on Jingle Way. The street across from her was called Sleigh Avenue. Princess Olivia approached one of the fairies on a nearby Christmas tree, hoping they could help her locate the King of Kindness. "Good fairy," began Princess Olivia, but before she could say another word, she was interrupted by a lifelike mechanical Santa stood in the shop front window facing her. It started to sing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," but wound down, then stopped completely and slumped forward. As suddenly as it stopped, it straightened up again and started to sing, "Santa Claus is calm, ing to town." The mechanical Santa slumped forward again, but this time, smoke was coming out of its ears, and the smell of burnt marshmallows filled the surrounding air. It stood bent over and silent in its brokenness. "You just can't get the help nowadays," the Christmas tree fairy said sarcastically. "Is it okay?" Princess Olivia asked, pointing at the mechanical Santa. "Of course, dear. It is a machine after all. It's probably just a mechanical glitch." "Good fairy, could you tell me where I can find the fairy interrupted. King of Kindness?" "Yes, you read my mind." "That wouldn't be difficult," the fairy said. "Did I say something to offend you?" Princess Olivia asked. "No. From your tone, I feel I offended you." There was an awkward silence, then the fairy continued. "Good, 'cause I don't care, and you needn't expect me to apologize. I don't do that sort of thing." Princess Olivia thought about saying something back, but knew time was of the essence, so she just bluntly asked, "Where is the King of Kindness?" "3rd Street on the right," the fairy said with boredom in her voice and her hand going to her face to stifle a cynical yawn. Given the grouchy and unpleasant nature of the fairy, Princess Olivia couldn't resist it. When she was behind the fairy, she turned round, stuck her tongue out and blew a raspberry at her, then walked towards the 3rd Street on the right. Once she reached her destination, instead of seeing some huge palace, Princess Olivia saw a small white cottage with a thatched roof. She entered, wondering what strange events lay in store for her. Her little pink unicorn waited outside while she entered the cottage. "Hello, is anyone here?" Princess Olivia asked. "Yes, child, I am here. How can I help you?" The King of Kindness asked with a melancholy voice. "I have come to ask you for the Christmas crown so I can use it to break an evil enchantment that has turned my family into statues. I would gladly have given you the Christmas crown, but I cannot. The white-haired ogre has stolen it. Now my kingdom is falling apart. He enchanted my family. Do you know how I can get to his lair? I must defeat him to free my family from his curse. Beyond the forest of the west, you will find the white-haired ogre, but beware, child, to defeat him, it will require great courage and strength." "I must go now," the little princess said. "If I defeat the white-haired ogre, I shall return with the Christmas crown to restore your kingdom and free my family." "Good luck, little princess," the King of Kindness said as he waved her off from his cottage. Princess Olivia rode all day and all night to discover the white-haired ogre's lair. With each stride her little pink unicorn took her deeper and deeper into the forest. As they journeyed forward, they weaved in and out of the trees trying to avoid the snagging branches. Night soon descended, and the darkness enveloped them. The darkness made the little unicorn nervous. She wasn't as sure-footed as she was in the daylight. The unicorn started to trot rather than gallop, and after a few minutes, she stopped. In the distance, Princess Olivia saw a light. She dismounted her unicorn, and they walked towards the light on foot. As they drew closer to the light, the trees became increasingly spaced out until they opened into a clearing, where a huge hut stood. The front door and the windows of the hut were at least 10 times higher than Princess Olivia and her unicorn, with the full hut being twice that size or more. The little princess managed to push the door open with help from her unicorn. Once inside, they discovered a massive table with a chair that had legs almost as large as a tree, and a huge sink with an even larger plate and other dirty dishes that had been left to be washed later. To the left, there was a large unmade bed. The bed was simple. It consisted of 4 large tree trunks with 4 thick and heavy logs, which were tied in place with strong rope. This timber base supported a mattress made of concrete. On top of this simple bed lay a brown and white fleece blanket with a tiger image woven into the fabric. It was thick and warm looking. Princess Olivia and her unicorn were cold and tired and wanted to sleep. But they were too small to climb on the bed and curl up on the blanket, so they pulled at it and, with a little effort, dragged it to the floor. Princess Olivia wrapped it around her unicorn, and it fell asleep in no time. The blanket seemed so warm and cozy that it was almost as if the unicorn was snuggling up to a living and breathing tiger. Little did the little princess know that the blanket was a real tiger. It was enchanted and imprisoned within the fabric of the blanket many years ago. On just one day a year, it was freed from its prison to feed. Had the little princess known this, she might have been wary of letting her unicorn sleep all night in the blanket. But dear reader, you need not worry, the little pink unicorn was relatively safe. The tiger wasn't going to be fed that night. Once the unicorn was sound asleep, Princess Olivia pulled out the bottom drawer of a giant cabinet and fell asleep in the large shirt that was folded in the drawer. In the morning, Princess Olivia and her unicorn awoke to rays of sunlight piercing through the window of the hut. They got up when they heard a giant approaching, for they knew that giants had a ferocious appetite and would eat anyone and anything that wandered their way. Neither the little princess nor her unicorn wanted to stick around long enough to see who the giant was going to have for lunch first. As the giant opened the door, Princess Olivia and her little pink unicorn galloped out the hut between the giant's legs and deep into the forest before the giant had the chance to catch up with them and eat them. But, of course, the giant that lived in this hut didn't like the taste of people, so the little princess and her unicorn needn't have worried about being eaten. Besides, this particular giant will return later in our story, so keep an eye out for him. Princess Olivia traveled deeper into the forest and made good progress until she came to a fence with a big sign. White-haired ogre's lair ahead. Keep out. Trespassers will be eaten. As if to emphasize this point, the sign dripped with fresh blood and a pile of leg and arm bones was strewn on the ogre's side of the fence. The fence was extremely high, but it didn't deter the brave little prince. She looked at her little pink unicorn. What do you think, friend? Can we jump this fence? The little unicorn nodded and motioned for her to mount. The little unicorn took a few steps back, then galloped forward, jumping high and safely over the fence. It wasn't long before they approached the ogre's lair. The smell emanating from its lair was unbearable. It was a choking stench, and it made them gag. It was as if someone had eaten nothing but boiled eggs and baked beans all their days and, as a result, had a chronic flatulence problem. My eyes are nipping. I hope I can get the Christmas crown and get out of here quickly, Princess Olivia said as she coughed. In the darkness, she saw a set of stairs, which she climbed to find the Christmas crown. At the top of the stairs, the little princess saw a door ajar. When she poked her head around the door, Princess Olivia saw the ogre sleeping soundly. The Christmas crown lay on the ogre's bedside cabinet and shimmered in the darkness. Princess Olivia tiptoed into the gloomy room and made a grab for the Christmas crown. Just as she was about to grasp the Christmas crown, her little pink unicorn let out an enormous sneeze. Princess Olivia was so surprised she turned around and then looked back towards the Christmas crown to discover she was now face to face with an angry ogre that was very much awake. Bless you, the ogre said to the little unicorn as his face lit up with a wicked grin. Before the little princess or the unicorn could act, the white-haired ogre had them in his clutches. He held them so tightly that there was no chance of escape. The ogre brought them closer to his face and let out an evil laugh. Whoa, ha, ha, ha. Let me go. I am Princess Olivia, and I command you to let me go, the little princess said, putting as much indignation as she could into her command enchantment. Your magic spells don't work as well on me, little one. The ogre said. So, you want me to let you go after trespassing on my property, do you? No, my pretty little princess, I won't let you go, but I am a little peckish, and a little princess would be a nice snack for an ogre like me. You do realize, of course, that your command enchantment was never going to work on someone like me. The brave little princess struggled in the white-haired ogre's grasp. Stop your struggling, or I'll eat your unicorn right now. With the threat of death to her faithful companion, Princess Olivia ceased struggling but still looked for ways to make her escape. Since you aren't going anywhere, why don't you just tell me why you have come to my lair? You cast a spell on my family, and you stole the Christmas crown from the King of Kindness. I need it to break your evil enchantment and restore the kingdom of the north to its glory. Evil am I? Well, you know life is always a bit more complicated than that. But I don't need to justify myself to you. Now, in you go. The ogre said as he locked Princess Olivia and the unicorn in his tower and went to his kitchen to boil a pot of water so he could cook them in it. Once the ogre was out of sight, Princess Olivia started pulling at the iron bars of the tower. She also tried to knock out the bricks, hoping to pull down the wall and escape. But no matter what she and her unicorn did, nothing worked. A large shadow belonging to the giant they crossed paths with earlier in the story fell over the tower window. Help! Help us, Mr. Giant! The white-haired ogre is going to eat us. What was that? The giant asked, looking around, wondering where the voice was coming from. Down here. Quick, he's coming, Princess Olivia said. Who? The white-haired ogre. He said he was going to eat us. Oh, I've heard of him. He's a bit of a mean fellow and has a terrible flatulence problem. Yes, that's him. Quick, I can hear him coming up the stairs. Princess Olivia was indeed quite correct. The white-haired ogre was coming up the stairs and was ready to dip her and the brave little unicorn into a pan of boiling water. Okay, little one, the giant said. Stand back. The giant wrapped his little pinky around the iron bars and pulled at them as if they were a wishbone. The iron bars and part of the wall came off as the giant pulled at the tower. The giant stuck a finger for the little princess and her unicorn to climb onto his hand to escape. Climb on, little one, and I shall carry you and your unicorn away from here, the giant said. It was then that the ogre entered and saw the hole in his tower. He looked up at the giant, but before the ogre could utter one of his evil enchantments, the giant made a fist with his right hand and hammered into the tower, bringing it down upon the ogre, crushing him under hundreds of tons of rubble. Out from the carnage rolled the Christmas crown. Gentle giant, could you pick up the Christmas crown as I must return it to the King of Kindness, who lives in the kingdom in the north? Certainly, little one. The giant said as he bent down, picked it up, and put it gently into Princess Olivia's hands. From such a great vantage point, Princess Olivia and her pink unicorn could see that the kingdom in the north was but a short walk away for the giant. Would you be kind enough to drop us off at the kingdom in the north? Certainly, but as we continue our journey, I'd be pleased to hear your story. So, Princess Olivia recounted her fight with the northern wind, journey to the kingdom in the north, and then her attempt to retrieve the crown from the white-haired ogre. So, it was you who was in my hut. I wondered why my shirts were wrinkled. Sorry about that, Princess Olivia said, feeling embarrassed. Not to worry, little one. As they got closer to the kingdom in the north, they could see people scurrying away at the sight of the giant. Perhaps they were frightened that the white-haired ogre was visiting yet another injustice upon them. Princess Olivia got down and held out the Christmas crown. People stopped looking frightened and then started to cheer and shout. Get the king! The Christmas crown has returned. The crowd cheered. The King of Kindness appeared and welcomed them. You must come with me. I have a surprise for you, the King of Kindness said to the princess, the unicorn and the giant. As they walked with the King of Kindness, Princess Olivia saw that the snowman traffic lights were no longer melting, and the candy cane street lamps were all working too. The Christmas trees had all their decorations back, and the fairy she saw earlier was dancing gleefully at the top of her tree. In the shop window, the mechanical Santa was playing Christmas songs perfectly. When they turned the corner, Princess Olivia was confronted once again by the simple white cottage with a thatched roof. Is the Christmas crown damaged? Princess Olivia asked. No, this is my palace. Were you expecting something a bit grander? Well, I had thought that the king interrupted her. I have no need for a large palace. I would be all alone in such a place. I live here with my people so I can share in their happiness and spend my kingdom's wealth on unleashing the talents of all my subjects. Their happiness enriches my whole kingdom. They, in turn, bestow simple acts of kindness throughout the year. This is how we live. Come, child, I have a gift for you. They entered the cottage, and as Princess Olivia looked around, She noticed her Nana standing beside the King of Kindness, and then her mum, Auntie Maya, and her fairy godmother sitting on the couch to the right. Princess Olivia asked, "But how did? When you killed the ogre, the enchantment was broken, and we were freed. On hearing that the Christmas crown had been stolen, we came here knowing that you would return the crown before going home. We missed you," they said as they gave Princess Olivia a hug and a kiss. Princess Olivia was both happy and sad at the same time. "What's the matter, Olivia?" Nana, the Queen, asked. "I wish Dad could be here with us. It's Christmas, and I haven't seen him for so long that I've forgotten what he looks like." They laughed, and Princess Olivia turned to see her mum kissing the giant. "Didn't you realize this is your dad?" her mum said. "Dad?" Princess Olivia said. And then Princess Olivia's fairy godmother waved her wand. They were transported back to the palace, where they all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.